Welcome back to another edition of the Wizard Shop. We're going to get this thing on the lift to check out this really cool Lotus right after this. Here we are again with another really cool car to check out. This one's actually been sitting in the shop for a little bit. You guys have seen it in the background in the previous videos. I've got several exotics ahead of this one, but I decided to go ahead and at least get started on it today and check it out, look it over. Got some interesting information about it, why it's here, and we're going to place it on the lift and let you guys take a look at it. This is a 2011 Lotus Evora. It is not the Evora S, it is just the Evora. It has only 14,000 miles on it. It's in like new condition and it looks really cool. When I drove up, you guys might have noticed the engine note and say, well, that sounds familiar. And that's because it is a Toyota 3.5 V6, which in my eyes and in my mind, that's amazing. That's an awesome step forward for an exotic car maker. You'll be able to get parts for it. It's going to last a long time. It's not going to be broke down every 20,000 miles. That's a really good call on their part, if you ask me. It has 276 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. It does 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds. Will your Toyota Camry do that? Probably not. But this one does. It's a very light car. It has a 6-speed manual. There was also a 6-speed automatic option for this car, but this one happens to have the manual, which is what I would prefer. It has what's called +0 or 2+2 seats. It actually has 2 back seats for some really small people. And when we take a look in the interior, you'll kind of laugh and scoff at it. It's like, you can't even fit nobody in there, but they're there. The car was designed by Russell Carr. No, not Russell Crowe. Russell Carr. He's the guy that designed this Evora. There's a conglomeration of all kinds of car makers into this car, but it was assembled in Hethel, England. Not Ethel, it's Hethel with an H. It has a top speed of 163 miles per hour, and it gets 30 miles per gallon. It's as fast or not faster than some Corvettes, but it gets about the same miles per gallon. Amazingly, the Corvettes get 30 miles per gallon. That's pretty cool. I think that's awesome. When you're cruising along, you're not racing people, you're not trying to hot dog it. You just want to get from point A to point B in style. You can do so and get 30 miles per gallon. I think that's really cool. Inside the interior, there's no buttons or anything to push to open the rear hatch. It's all through the key fob on the little button here. Yeah. Go ahead and get this thing opened up. And I will see if I can sell him a set of these strut rods. They aren't holding. But this little tool here is pretty handy. It's just for this reason. When you open a hood and it won't hold itself up, it clamps down and holds it in place for you. You don't have to worry about it damaging or scoring the surface here because they're already ruined anyways. You're not going to lose any fluid or charge out of it. They've already lost it all. So there's no button or anything in the cabin to open this rear hatch. It's done by the key fob. And then you have to take this little cover off that says Lotus Performance. These little latches. And there's the Toyota engine. And there is the Toyota 3.5 V6. There's the forward bank, and down there's the rearward bank. I really enjoy that they put this engine in here. The fact that it has a Toyota is just awesome to me.
Car Wizard, It looks a little difficult to work on.
Well, it probably is a little difficult. There'll be a lot of things from underneath that you would get to. Luckily, it has timing chains and not belts, so we don't have to worry about that. This will easily be a car that you could drive for 100,000 miles as long as you keep the normal maintenance schedule and not really have any huge issues, just as well as a Toyota with this engine. So the reason why it's here is that we're just going to change the fluids and do services on it, and it also had an airbag light on. I've already checked the airbag light out. It's kind of a funny story. We'll get to that here in a minute, but I thought I'd show you guys the engine bay and the trunk. This is your trunk. Up front, there's nothing that opens. There's a radiator up there. That's about it. there's nothing you can do up front. This is your trunk. Could fit some golf clubs in there maybe. While we have this open, I'll show you guys the original color of this car. It's silver. People have commented in the comment section, is that the original color or is that stock? No, it's a wrap. It's been wrapped to this color. You can see the original color here, silver. Okay, well, let's get this closed and get this thing on the lift and look from underneath. So one thing you're going to notice as we get under here is that there's not much to see but plates and plates and more plates. But we will be able to look into the engine a little bit back there in the rear plate. But we can look at the suspension and brakes and things. Brakes look good. Nothing leaking, nothing loose. Very nice. There's only 14,000 miles on it. I don't suspect I'll find a whole lot. Sway bar is nice and tight. Brake pad's the same over here. No leaks. Nothing loose. Sway bar's tight. Not much going on there. Plates up under. On top of these plates will be the radiator and different things, but we're not going to be taking all that stuff down. I want to show you guys something on these exotic cars. This has little stickers, little decals that shows you where to put the jack. You must follow that. You can't just put the jack wherever you want. You'll crush and break stuff. You'll go to lift it and you'll hear crunch, break, crack, and that's not good. It has these little pads that shows directly where to put the jack at. Thank you, Lotus, for the decals. Guys, these panels are all sealed in with silicone, orange silicone. That's factory. I don't think that's silicone. It's like hard adhesive. Plastic. Some kind of epoxy. Here we go again with the jack point decal. Same thing over here. There's a little plate where it's supposed to go. And now we're back to the engine. You can see the transmission through there. Can't really see a whole lot. There's the exhaust you're looking at there. Let me see if I can. And like I said, you won't be able to see a whole lot, but I can look in through these little holes and know that there are no leaks. Here's the oil pan, right here. Nice and dry. Main thing I'm looking for is anything that's wet, that's accumulated or dripped. They've got this thing really sealed in pretty nice. It's one of the most enclosed cars I've seen in a while. The most enclosed car I've ever seen was Hoovie's McLaren MP4 12C. It was completely sealed from front to back. They didn't want you messing with anything, so that one was really closed in. And this one's almost as closed in. Here's the rear air diffuser and the exhaust. It's got a Jan Speed exhaust on it. It sounds pretty good. Let's check the rear brakes and the rear wheels real quick while we're back here. Pads look fine. Nothing loose. No loose sway bar. Pads are fine now. Nothing loose. Nope. It's a nice tight sway bar. Tires look good. They look new. Michelin's. Well, I guess we'll lower this down. There's not much to see. Everything that could leak or have any issues as far as the engine will be right here. There's possibility for coolant leaks up front, but it's all dry. Everything looks good. Let's lower it down and talk a little bit more about it. It's so light it just floats down. Now you've seen that we had the certain jack points on this car that's really critical to get right. My mentor always told me a story about when he was a team leader at a Chrysler dealership. There was a mechanic or technician that they had that had been a mechanic for many years. He was an excellent mechanic, top notch. But his last couple of years, he just didn't give a crap anymore. He would get the arms to the lift where instead of positioning them properly, he would use his foot and just kick the arms under the car and start lifting. He wouldn't even look where they went. He didn't care. This is definitely not the car to have a bad attitude like that on. And accordingly, the guy was set to retire. He was going to retire and have a good pension. He lost it all because he got fired. He broke somebody's Chrysler, some sort of a car, and broke the crap out of it. It was a pretty big deal. So it's always good to keep a level head and keep your mind in the game, especially on these cars, because one little oops can be 10 grand. In a snap of a finger, you just cost yourself or the shop $10,000. So the reason why it's here is to have all the fluids changed, like I said, and have it serviced. Also to check the airbag light. I used my Autel MS908, checked it out, and I could read the engine and do different things, but I had some trouble getting into the ABS computer. So I real quick went to some Lotus forums, and there was a workaround. If you manually enter in on the scan tool that this is a 2011 Daewoo Apica, you can get in there and see the codes. And it just had a voltage codes, maybe a low battery at some point. I told it to clear the codes, and it was happy. The light went out. It's totally, I checked for codes again to make sure. It said no codes available. There are none. There's no codes. So apparently the engine's Toyota, and the airbag is Daewoo. There's all kinds of different conglomeration of things going on these cars. But I suppose if you have one of these cars and you have a scan tool and you're trying to check the airbag light, 2011 Daewoo Apica, and as you go through, you select the dynamic sensing module. That's what it calls the airbag. And you can read the codes and clear the codes. And it worked. It worked flawlessly. Kind of strange. Let's take a look at the interior. Just like a lot of the Lotuses before this one, the Exige, the Elise, Europa, they have these high door sills as part of the frame of the body. You just kind of get used to that with these Lotuses. But the interior, if you guys could smell it right now, it smells amazing. It smells like a Coach handbag. I love that leather smell. These buttons look like Toyota font. They pretty much are. They're Toyota. That's just like out of a Camry, guys. I like that though. I'm happy with that. I'd be totally fine with that with this car. It's got an aftermarket radio, it looks like. An Alpine. Here's the 6-speed manual. There's your climate control in the center. Very much looks like a McLaren, kind of like Hoovy's McLaren, the way it's laid out. Nice metal buttons here. These are nice Recaro seats here. Let's see if I can look at that little seat, guys. I don't even know if a toddler could fit in there. Maybe. You have to scoot the seats forward quite a ways. It actually has a latch system in it to put a baby seat. Well, thanks for following along on this really cool Lotus Evora. I thought you guys would enjoy a little tour of the car, underneath, the engine bay, and also the interior. There's lots of guys on YouTube that do car reviews and talk about the car, but you rarely ever get to put it on a lift and look underneath the car. That's quite an advantage here of some of these reviews I do. It's not really a review, it's just to let you guys check the car out. From a mechanic's perspective, what do these things look like? Where are these things located? So we're going to get the services done on this. I already took care of the airbag light for him. Get him back on the road, have another happy exotic car customer. Well, Mrs. Wizard, do you think we could make this a nice family car?
I don't know, Car Wizard. I think we might have to cut our kids' legs off if they're going to fit back there. But it'd be great for us, you know, we could do a road trip.
Yeah, what about your shirt? It's a Texas 66 shirt, huh?
It is. We got this on our road trip last year.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't think our kids would even want to ride. They'd probably say no. No thanks.
They'd like to drive it.
Yeah, they'd probably like. They wouldn't be able to, though. They don't know how to drive a manual.
Oh, yeah, that's
So.
too bad for them. I can.
Anyways, check my Amazon affiliate page for many cool things and tools that I have. Also, if you haven't hit the subscribe button already, which a lot of you have, really thanks for that. It's really skyrocketing lately. Go ahead and do that. We got many more cool videos to come. And again, thanks for watching.